Hello again guys, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how I created this slice of lemon here, which is on our glass. So if you've been following along with my various tutorials on here, you should already be familiar with how to create a glass, how to fill it with liquid, add in ice cubes, and so I just thought I'd do a tutorial on this slice of lemon. So it's got a couple of small modeling challenges, but nothing too difficult. The key really comes into the rendering of this. So this is my finished kind of model scene here. So I'm just going to skip back to previous model here. Okay, so you can see we've got our ice cubes inside there. If you're not familiar with how to create the ice cubes, again, I have a tutorial on my channel about that. And we have the glass, we have the water droplets on the outside of the glass, so all of the elements are there. What I'm going to add in now is just this slice of lemon. So a little bit tricky on the modeling side, nothing too difficult though. So we're going to create an icosphere, and I'm going to create that on a new layer actually. So let's just view this. Let's just view this layer. I'll create a new layer here. All right, so an icosphere, and I'm going to probably leave the number of subdivisions at 2, maybe up it to 3. I think 3. So once we've done that, we're going to tab over into edit mode and face select, and we're going to need to select a bunch of faces which basically outline this kind of semicircular shape of the lemon, as if the lemon's been cut. So basically we're going to want to go along a line of edges, something like that. So you got this wedge shape that we're going to form here. Now once we have selected this line of edges, I'm going to continue it all the way over like so. And the same here. So that we get this wedge shape. We'll just come over the top there. Follow this edge along to somewhere where it intersects. So there, that's looking good. So then we'll hit C for circle select. What we basically want to do now is select everything that's outside of that wedge. C for circle select again. Just going to make the circle a little bigger. We're going to come along and select everything around there. And everything around here. And around the bottom. So really what we're aiming to do is eliminate all of the faces except for those faces that make up that wedge shape. So I think that's got them all now. So we're going to be left with just this kind of segment, which is going to be our segment of lemon. So hit X, we'll delete all those faces, and we're left now with this segment like so. And now here's where a slightly little tricky bit comes in, because we're going to want to create a new face along the edge here, maintaining no kind of a hard edge. So we're going to select along that edge there, and if you hit F, it will create a new face along that edge. And you can do the same on this side, and hit F. Now we have our wedge shape, but it's looking a little blocky. It's not looking too lemon-like. it would be smoother. So you can turn on smooth shading. That helps a little bit, but it still looks a little odd. We've got these two sharper edges here. Now we can add a subdivision surface modifier, and you'll see that that helps to smooth things out, but now we've got kind of a little bit of a too rounded shape. It's not looking quite right anymore. So we're going to add another modifier, which will be a bevel modifier, and we're going to limit by angle. And by adjusting this angle, we can adjust the limit of the bevel. We can adjust the width of the bevel and the number of segments that we're going to make in that bevel. And I'm going to move that up so it's above our subsurf modifier. So we should have the bevel modifier followed by the subsurf modifier below it. And you'll see that now that gives us a nicer wedge shape to our lemon. So we can adjust the bevel width to make this sharper or more rounded. So you want to have that just a little bit rounded. You don't want it to be completely sharp. And the greater number of segments you have, the more rounded it will also become. But I'm just going to leave it at 2 segments, and we'll just adjust the width a little bit so we get a nice lemon wedge looking shape. Okay. So that's basically it for the modeling. The only thing that we may want to do then is just size it, maybe want to scale a little bit, make your lemon piece bigger, and then we need to position it in our glass so it's sticking over the edge of the glass there, and you may just want to rotate it. So we'll grab our rotation handles, rotate it around a little bit, depending on the angle that you want to be viewing this at. So I actually want to see a little bit of the texture that we're going to place on the lemon. So I'm going to rotate it the other way. And I'm then going to move it forwards a little bit, like so. Now let's go to our camera view. Right, so we're still looking almost square on at the side of the lemon there. So I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit. I'm going to move it up. And I'm going to rotate it so it points a little bit down. Let's go back to the camera view. Then we'll hit G and we'll move the camera. We're going to need to move this out the way. So we'll just move that up. Go back to our camera view. G again. Make sure we have the camera selected. Okay, I'm going to rotate the lemon a little bit more. Let's go back to the camera view. Alright, so now we're going to be able to see a little bit of the lemon texture on the back of there as well, which is going to be nice. Because this tutorial really is going to be all in the texturing. That's basically it for the modeling now. So we want to take a look at how we can texture this so it looks like a lemon. So, select our lemon and tab into edit mode. And what we want to do first of all is select all, hold down shift and select this face and this face, because we want to not have these faces selected. That should be about right. Let's just turn off the preview in edit mode. Okay, so we just have the back of the lemon selected, which is all that we want. And then we'll go to our materials, create a new material, which we will call lemon skin. And we're going to assign that to those surfaces. Then we'll create another new material, which we're going to call lemon slice. And we want to select this face and this face, and we'll assign lemon slice to there. And this should all be lemon skin. Okay. Now we're done with that, let's open up our node editor. Select the lemon slice, and we're going to add some nodes to this. So we're going to add a texture node to start with, which will be a Voronoi texture. And this Voronoi texture, we plug it into a mix RGB. So go to color, mix RGB. So the color of this is going to be plugged into here, and plugged into the factor. And for the colors, we're going to select 2 shades of yellow for the lemon. So one will be a lighter shade and the other will be a darker shade of yellow. So we have these 2 shades. Now, I'm going to tap back out of edit mode here. I'm going to go into a rendered view. And I'm just going to view this one layer only, so we only have to view this lemon part. Okay. So I'll make our rendering a little faster. So the color output of this goes into our diffuse. Now, it's not looking very lemon-like just yet. We need to scale up this Voronoi texture. Now, if I use Shift and Control and select that texture, it'll isolate the Voronoi texture only. Now, to do that, you need to make sure that in your user preferences, you have Node Wrangler turned on. So make sure Node Wrangler is turned on in your add-ons, and that means then if you Shift, Control, and select, it will show you one of those nodes and it will isolate it. So you can kind of go along your node tree and see the effect that each one is having. So what I want to do with the Voronoi texture is scale this up until it's pretty large, and this is going to make the texture of our lemon skin. So if we come over then to the mix shader, you'll see that it's mixing those two together. And finally, the diffuse here. So now you've got an idea how this looks. We can increase the scale a little bit more. And now what we're going to do is plug the factor of our Voronoi texture into the displacement of the material output. And that should give us a little bit of a bumpiness now to everything. Now I'm going to add a color invert to this. The reason being that we want the bumps to come out, not in. And that is starting to look rather like some lemon skin. So just play around with the scale until you get the right type of bumpy surface and texture that you want, until it looks something like a lemon skin. Now, a lemon skin has a little bit of shine to it as well, so what we're going to want to add in is another mix shader, which will drop in at the end of the diffuse. And then we're going to plug into this a glossy shader. Oops. The other side of that needs to go into here. Okay. So our glossy shader, I'm going to drag back a little bit of the roughness to make it a little bit more shiny. And then in our factor, we're going to want to drag forwards quite a long way because we don't want to have too much of the gloss. We just want to have a little bit. You see, if I bring it all the way back here, it's 100% gloss. And if I bring it all the way forwards, it's 100% diffuse. So we just want to pull it back just a little bit so we have a small amount of shininess to this surface. That will probably be enough. Let's see if we get closer into this. I may just want to knock down the scale of our texture a little bit. There we go. So now we get a little bit more bumpiness in there. Okay, I'm happy with that. So the next thing we're going to want to do then is the lemon slice. So for this, we're going to do a very, very simple UV mapping. So come over to our UV image editor. Now what we're going to want to do here is load in a new image. So I'm going to go to open image. And what we're going to need for this, you can download in the package that comes with the link below this video. I have a half lemon slice. So we're going to want to map this onto our surface here. So the way we're going to do that is we'll try and get it about square onto this surface here. We're going to come back out into solid view. So we'll tab into edit mode and we're going to select this face. Let's drag this open here. So we'll select this face here and then we're just going to go to mesh, UV unwrap, unwrap. And that gives us our unwrap mesh over here. Now we want to rotate this around, and basically what we want to do is match this up to our texture almost as close as we can. So we're going to get hold of vertices, and we're going to drag them out to approximately follow the contours of this lemon slice that we have. Something like that. It's good for us to start with. I think. Okay. Now, once we have done this, we'll come back over then to the node editor. We've got our lemon slice selected, and tab out of edit mode. We'll go back to rendered view. So what we're going to add here is a texture and image texture. So once we've added this image texture, hold down Control and T, and it will add in the other elements that we need for that, which is our UV mapping, image texture. Oh good, now we're going to plug the, we need to open our texture first, so go to that texture again that we had a moment ago, which is our lemon slice, and plug that into the color of the diffuse, and you'll see it comes up over there, nicely mapped on. And then we plug the alpha into the displacement, and that will help to give us a little bit of texture, a little bit of bumps to this. Now I'm going to add in a glossy shader. We're going to add a mix shader, and we're going to mix these together like so. We'll drag that back a little bit. We don't want to have too much glossiness, just a small amount. Give that a little bit of shine. And in the color of our gloss, we'll drag that over a little bit towards the yellow. So there's a little bit of reflection coming from this slice. And that is basically it. Now, you can also texture the backside of the lemon. Unnecessary though, because you're not going to see it in this particular render, but if you wanted, you can use exactly the same method to texture the backside. You would just need to do a UV unwrap on that, and the same methodology. So now we can bring back our other layers, and we'll go to our camera view, And there we have our slice of lemon on our glass. So the key to this really is down to the texturing, some very simple UV mapping, and you've also seen there how we can begin to produce procedural textures that will cover things such as citrus fruit skins using the Voronoi texture node, etc. So I hope you found this quick tutorial useful on how to create a slice of lemon for your cocktail glass. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like, and you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up to date with all my latest videos here. And in the links below this video, you can download the project file as well as the texture that I've used